Oh yeah, it's one of them kind of days. We got archery season coming up in 2 months. Yeah, that's right. October 5th. It does start a little later this year. Shot my bow. Got the flag there to represent the freedom we get to actually go out and do this kind of stuff. Eddie come over, the one that got stung with the food plot deal, brought some Miller Lite. These are sitting out in the sun. They'll probably taste better baking in the sun. So I don't know, let's walk and talk today. So you can see I've got the Cultimulture still hooked up to the 756, and I am in the process of working out all the electrical kinks. But there's a couple things I wanted to run by you, the viewer, the knowledgeable viewer, and see what you thought. Now, this is a gas tractor, and a lot of people that are tractor people, farmers and otherwise. Oh, by the way, the TA lever, this is not a TA delete. The TA works fine. I just haven't put the lever back on yet. So, the TA works fine in this. And that torque amplifier, for those that are not in the know, if you're, say, pulling something a lot heavier than this, maybe I'd be running duals, something heavier than this, and all of a sudden I'm dragging and I'm having a hard time and I'm bogging down, pull back on that lever right there that's not there. It looks actually a lot like the shift lever that you can see right there. You pull back on this and it draws you down about half a gear. So you'd go from third, say 3 low or whatever, to 2.5. Let's just use that for an example. But anyways, back to the gas tractor. Now, a lot of people are anti-gas. Oh, they drink a lot of fuel and this and that and the other. I'm going to tell you, we have some really, really bad winters here. And I don't mean just snow, but I do mean snow. We do get pounded. This is the Great Lakes region. And I am about 25 to, let's just say, 30 miles south of that lake. The Canadian air comes across, the cool Canadian air, the warm, comparatively, the warm water from the lake is drawn up and is carried so far until it's too heavy and it drops in snow. I am in that snow belt where we get a ton of it. But anyways, not talking about snow right now. I'm talking about temperatures. It is not unusual for us to get day in and day out of minus or sub-zero temperatures, and that can be the high for the day. It can be a high of, it's freaky to get it, but it could be a high of minus 15. Doesn't include the wind chill. This is an inanimate object. Wind chill has no effect on it whatsoever. But you want to start these tractors up and maybe get your driveway plowed with a back blade or whatever, or somebody needs pulled out of a ditch. A gas tractor is money in the winter. It's just money. You come out, there's a choke lever, you pull, you turn the key, you press the button, we're a go. Maybe a couple of turns at minus 10, but either way, it's going to start. A diesel, good luck, and I mean good luck. Some of them, especially the American 282 that was standard in the 560, Farmall 560 and the 656, you can't get them stinking things, especially at a 656. You couldn't get it to start if it was 100 degrees out and you were haying out in the field and you just ran it and shut it down 15 minutes ago. That's how bad those engines are, so they're certainly not going to start in the winter. But this is. But anyways, what I'm thinking about doing is getting it right. Not super right, but there are a couple things wrong with this tractor, and selling it and getting something else, or keeping it and still getting something else. I haven't decided yet, but the things that are wrong with this, in my opinion, the number one thing, I got to get the electrical. Now you can see I did buy a new starter, and it's a made by Dixie Electric. Pretty generic starter. This is the original one in there right there. I will rebuild that, no doubt about it. Whether I sell the tractor or keep it, that will end up probably going back in it, and it'll just have an extra starter, no big deal. Gas tractor starters don't take the beating a diesel starter does. It just don't. Diesel tractors, you gotta crank them and crank them. their starters take a little bit more beating. I'm sure that one's probably never even been rebuilt. I'm sure, no, it's the original starter. Whether it's been rebuilt or not, this tractor's 50 to 51 years old. But the thing's wrong with this. I'm going to get the electrical. I do have a new alternator, new battery. I redid all the wiring on this, so that's all new. It's going to have a new starter. All the electrical is going to be squared away and taken care of. But it needs a new MCV kit and pump, and that is going in, no doubt. So no matter who owns this, that's one of the non-negotiables. It does leak. It does mark its territory. It's been parked here about probably a little bit less than a week, and you can see the territory that it's marked right there. Okay, that is high tran. I only use high tran in all my stuff. But that is going to get changed. It's about a $450 pump. Fairly easy, but you got to take your time and do it. Okay, the next thing that this needs, in my opinion, is tires. These aren't exactly bald, and I'm going to tell you this side here is probably around 40 to 50% tread, but they're 16 934s. These tires are fine if you're a hay guy. If you're a tillage guy and you're pulling heavy stuff for this tractor, I would put 18 438s on that, or at least go up to 18 434s. These are 16-inch rims. They will take 18 4s, no doubt, but they are loaded. So one of these rims, in my opinion, needs repaired or replaced, and it is this one here. You can see that valve stem around it. They do get a little bit iffy. So that's the one thing that I would do, and probably will do if I keep it. I'll go 18 434s instead of the 16 9s. It could use a seat. It could. It doesn't have to. If you're going to replace this seat, and you can see the arms are kind of, they're worn out and tore. This is the original seat. But if you're going to replace this seat, you can get on eBay and get a complete aftermarket replacement, identical to it. You're looking at about $700 to replace that seat. Is it worth it? I'm going to tell you, a seat's a tricky question because it depends on how much ass time you have in that seat. If you're spending a lot of time in a seat, and I mean a lot of time to me is 6 or more hours a day during certain times of the year, I'm going to tell you yes. Invest in that seat. When you get off this tractor, you will be thankful you did. If you got a $50 butt and a $40 back, spend $90 on a seat. If you've got a $700 butt and a $700 back, you go spend $700 on a new seat and you replace it. But other than the MCV, I'll get that electric squared away. I'll pull that starter off of there, rebuild it. I'll have two working starters for this tractor. And then the tire situation, again, if you're a hay guy, you could get away with that. Walking around the machine here, tin is solid. It is straighter than an arrow. It really is. It's good. And as I said before, it's got a brand new alternator. That alternator has a lifetime warranty on it from Napa. Brand new battery from Tractor Supply. It's still under warranty. So yeah, got that going on. I did put new battery terminals and cables on it. The carburetor could use a rebuild. It's running fine. Every once in a while you get a drip, and I give it the old hammer tap, the float goes up. That probably has to do with the fact that over years, it's just developed some gunkiness in the needle valve and in that area. Not a big deal. The kit will run me about $40. I'll replace it and do all that. I mean, I can rebuild these blindfolded. So this is the tractor. This is what it is. Oh, and by the way, I was going to tell you, these are not matching rear skins. The tread here you're looking at probably, as a seller, I'm going to tell you 20%. As a buyer, I'm going to tell you 10 to 15. So either way, they've got to be changed. And if I'm going to change them, I'm not going 16 9s. I hate to keep harping on that, but the difference between a tractor that can work and work hard oftentimes is the rear skins. It just is. That's the way it is. And yeah, it's got the fast hitch. Everything works really good on it. The clutch probably does need adjustment, but I will tell you one thing about the clutch. It's a hydraulic clutch, so as much as it does need adjusted, a lot of the issues come from that bad pump. You're going to waste a lot more money adding High-Tran every time you go to use this than you will just spending the $450 and changing the pump out, by far, no doubt in my mind. So I am thinking about selling this tractor. I've told you the issues, in my opinion, with it. As a viewer, and I know what it's worth, but what do you think that it is worth? As you know, you're all Red Power guys, man. I'm sharing this in the international and the Farmall pages. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd pay for it. Let me know what you'd ask for it. And I know, I'm going to get some smart comments. Well, you ask what somebody'd give, but I know what I paid for it coming into it. I know what I know what I'm into it for right now. Good running machine. Doesn't use any oil. And tell me what you'd give for it, and tell me what you'd ask for it. Let's just say you're selling this on Craigslist. Now, I'm not talking about putting this at an auction with no reserve. This thing could go for $2,000, or it could go for $4,500 or $5,000. Who knows? You know about auctions. If you don't put a reserve on something, you're probably making a mistake, in my opinion, unless it's junk and needs a lot more work than this. This just needs common maintenance, in my opinion. Changing a pump out is not a big deal. It's not like pulling an engine and doing a complete overhaul. So let me know what you think. I'm going to tell you, this thing has 5,400 original hours on it with a working tach. So there you go. And I almost forgot to say that, and I'm glad I didn't. Take care, everybody. Boom!